Hello, my friends, and welcome to Words of Wisdom Wednesday. Can you tell? Green is one of my favorite colors. It's summertime in Kansas City, and I am loving it. And the reason I say in Kansas City, I have friends across the globe, and sometimes like right now, it is winter for them. The temperatures, the hemispheres, all of those things are intriguing to me. And so while we are sweating in the hundreds, Australia is actually chilly and always needs a jacket. So it's very fun to talk to friends across the globe. So, yes, green is one of my favorite colors, and summer is my season for sure. I wanted to talk today about seasons. We've talked before about the only thing constant in our lives is change, and people come and go into our lives. Absolutely. Do you fight that? If it's a season for someone to move on from you, okay. If it's a season for someone not to be connected with you any longer, okay. But the bottom line is seasons and change. The only thing constant in our lives is change. I'm Kathy Weaver, and this is Words of Wisdom Wednesday, and I am definitely part of the fan club with Delinda Lane and the fun, fearless female global community of Christian women. Networking is a blast. Meeting people for me is a blast. Sharing my Kangen water business, I love that part of the networking puzzle. But what about change? What about seasons? People come, people go, clients come, unfortunately, clients go. It depends on your consistency. It depends on top of mind. And sometimes it really is a season. They're out in the networking world. They meet you, they buy your product or service. The relationship forms. That's awesome. And then, poof, they can disappear. Usually, it's not something that we did or didn't do, it's a season. And again, do you fight it? Oh, please. And you basically cling and clutch. Don't leave me, kind of thing. Well, if we think about it in terms of season, this was a good season for them to be in my life. This is a good season for them to not be in my life. And I think in terms of networking groups, if you're a networker, think about all the networking groups that you've attended over the years. Season. Were you part of chambers of commerce? Were you a part of BNI groups? Were you part of ladies groups across your local market? Even Zoom, even virtual. Were you part of different groups online? Did those groups disappear? Did those groups close? Did those groups what? Change, pivot, punt? What? Did they change? And so the answer for me is the only thing constant in our lives is change. So do you flex with it or do you fight it? Now, even way back in 2012, when I wrote my first book, Networking on Steroids, it's free, by the way. So this is not a push, but it's on my YouTube channel and on a playlist. But even back then, I wrote, if there's not a group, a networking group that is conducive to your product or service or your personality in your local area, we didn't have as much Zoom back then, start one. Start a networking group, start a virtual group. If you like to network and the networking type that you like is not out there, start one. Well, I don't know how to do it, or it changes, or they close it, or not enough people show up, or whatever. Okay, fix that. Promote event pages, YouTube videos, blast it all over the place. Invite friends, invite other networks. It's not just one little network that you stay in, probably. How much bigger do you want to get? Punt and pivot. And I was thinking about this with the seasons because in a few short days, depending upon when you're watching this, we're starting the second half of 2024. What? We're starting the second half of 2024. Holy moly, where'd the first half go? The only thing constant in our lives is change. We're starting the third quarter of 2024. What? Yeah, Last week, summer solstice, which means longest day of the year. Light, 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 light. It was fabulous. And yes, I enjoyed it. So what does that mean? Now the season, the days are going to start getting shorter again until we get to December 21st when it flips. So every 6 months, here we go. Days are getting shorter, shorter, shorter. Then starting in December, days are going to get longer, longer, longer until we get to June 20th. And then we get the longest day of the year as far as daylight. December 20th, 21st, shortest day of the year as far as daylight. Okay. How are you going to embrace that change? The season change, the light, the daylight out there change. The weather, think about that. Kansas City can be 110 degrees. Feels like, holy moly, 115, 20. Kansas City can be negative 30 degrees. Feels like 40, 50 below zero. So look at that temperature variance. Do you embrace it? Do you fight it? Good luck with that. What does that look like? So let's think in terms of how are we going to embrace change, embrace these seasons. People come and go in our lives. You don't want to cling and clutch and hold them because that's not going to work. At least it hasn't for me. And it's a season. Networking groups come and go, events come and go. Punt and pivot. Find something else that rocks your world. Or remember, start a group yourself. I'm super excited for that. And I really do mean that. Networking is a blast. I've enjoyed it so much. Words of Wisdom Wednesday is fantastic because I get to hear from you. What about if, how do I, where do I, all of those things. And I turn them into Words of Wisdom Wednesday segments. So keep those thoughts coming. Your posts and your comments on my video and certainly on the Fun Fearless Female Global Community of Christian Women page are always very welcome. Thank you, my friends. I'm Kathy Weaver, and I will see you next week. It'll be here before you know it on Words of Wisdom Wednesday. I appreciate you, just so you know that. Bye for now.